Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rory McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. In an interview with the Spanish newspaper ABC, Pope Francis has revealed that at the start of his pontificate in 2013, he gave Cardinal Tarcisio Bertone, the then Secretary of State, a letter outlining his intention to resign in the event of serious and persistent health issues that would prevent him from carrying out his duties as Bishop of Rome and head of the Universal Church. The Pope met with the newspaper's editor, Julian Quiros, and its Vatican correspondent, Javier Martinez Brocal, during which he spoke about a range of issues. Topics included cases of clerical sex abuse, the place of women in the Roman Curia, Pope Benedict XVI's resignation, and his own potential resignation. He also spoke about the crisis in Ukraine, for which he does not foresee a short-term resolution. A new study has revealed that there were at least 420 hostile acts committed against churches in the US over the previous 5 years, with 57 of those incidents being reported between January and September this year. The Family Research Council, a Washington-based Christian activist group, released the analysis tracking attacks against 397 specific churches in 45 US states and Washington, D.C. The offences include vandalism, arson, events involving firearms, and bomb threats. The study shows that there were 50 incidences of aggression toward churches in 2018. That number rose to 83 in 2019 and fell to 54 in 2020. As many as 96 incidences of violence toward churches occurred in 2021, while 137 occurred between January and September of 2022. Pope Francis met with young people who receive care from the Vatican's Santa Marta Pediatric Dispensary and asked everyone to remember and pray for the children of Ukraine. The Holy Father reflected on how many children in Ukraine won't be able to celebrate Christmas in safety and peace this year due to the war. In the Paul VI Hall where the audience was seated, the Pope pointed to a Ukrainian flag and noted the word peace printed on it. Pope Francis said, "If the Lord gives us this joy to celebrate Christmas like this all together in peace, let us also think of those who suffer, and let us pray together for them." A terrorist strike in the north of Iraq has claimed the lives of at least 9 police officers. Although no organisation has claimed responsibility for the tragedy, authorities blamed the so-called Islamic State organisation for the incident that occurred close to Kirkuk. A bomb blast in the town of Safra targeted a truck carrying policemen, which set off the assault. A little while later, a direct attack with small arms occurred. One attacker was reportedly slain by police, and more are being sought. 3 troopers were killed by a roadside bomb earlier this week, and the Islamic State took responsibility. Although the so-called Islamic State was expelled from its final stronghold in 2019, the United Nations has issued a warning that it still poses a persistent threat. Another attack last month on a remote military outpost close to Kirkuk in northern Iraq resulted in the deaths of 4 soldiers. On Saturday, Pope Francis celebrated his 86th birthday with the Missionaries of Charity by presenting the Mother Teresa Award to 3 individuals who support the poorest of the poor. The prize and a note of appreciation were given to Gian Piero, Father Hannah Jalouf and Silvano Pedrolo on December the 17th. Pedrolo is a businessman from Verona who donates a significant portion of his company's profits to help the poorest in Africa, Asia and Latin America, building schools, wells and health facilities. Amid the civil war, the Franciscan Father Jalouf aided the poor in Syria, while Gian Piero, a homeless man, is reputed to share some of the alms he receives daily with those who are less fortunate than himself. Pope Francis asked St. Teresa of Calcutta, whom he canonized as a saint in 2016, for help on his birthday. December the 16th marked the conclusion of the diocesan stage of the beatification procedures for the 140 priests and lay people who were killed in Spain during the civil war in the 1930s. Father Timoteo Rojo, who concealed St. Isidore of Seville's body to prevent it from being desecrated, is one of the candidates. There are 3 separate causes, and they include one covering 61 diocesan priests from Madrid, a group of 71 laypeople, and 8 members of the Catholic Association of Propagandists. They were all killed in hatred of the faith. The Catholic Association of Propagandists itself, the Archdiocese of Madrid, the Diocese of Getafe, the Catholic Action of Madrid, and Catholic Action of Getafe all support these causes. According to the Auxiliary Bishop of Madrid, Juan Antonio Martinez Camino, The religious persecution of those years was the bloodiest suffered by the Church in Spain. A volunteer of the Block Rosary Crusade in Nigeria, named Agbo Isaiah Oluchukwu, was killed by attackers while guarding children who were praying. On December the 14th, Mr. Oluchukwu and other volunteer guards refused to allow two boys of the locality to enter the premises of St. Joseph's Church in Nsukka Diocese while children were praying the Rosary. After chanting slogans related to a cult, the two boys retreated before emerging with 12 others around midnight. They then stormed the gate and attacked the guards with a dagger and wooden planks. While several guards sustained stab wounds, Mr. Oluchukwu received many injuries as he resisted the assailants and prevented them from reaching the church. While being taken to a hospital in Enugu, he passed away. The 21-year-old was a member of the altar boys from Immaculate Heart Parish in Aji and one of the organisers of Block Rosary in the Aji Deanery of the Nsukka Catholic Diocese. The state of New Mexico in the United States of America is being sued by a Christian physician and the Christian Medical and Dental Associations for passing a statute that compels medical professionals to support physician-assisted suicides. The statute forces doctors to take part in a procedure that goes against their moral principles and religious beliefs. Attorneys with the non-profit religious rights law firm Alliance Defending Freedom raised the federal complaint on their behalf. Physicians may be subject to severe criminal, legal, administrative and professional liabilities if they choose not to participate due to their religious convictions or professional ethics. Their medical licenses are also at stake. The Elizabeth Whitefield End-of-Life Options Act was passed in New Mexico in 2021, despite previous condemnations of assisted suicide. Conscientiously objecting doctors are nevertheless required by law to aid the process of suicide by educating patients about assisted suicide and directing them to groups and doctors who will take part in it. In a prosecution against a Christian street preacher, prosecutors in the United Kingdom have now acknowledged that it was improper for them to claim that certain passages of the Bible no longer fit in today's society and would be considered insulting if said aloud. The statement was given by the Crown Prosecution Service about a case involving John Dunn, a 55-year-old cancer survivor from Swindon, who was detained on suspicion of homophobia in November in 2020 after preaching on the High Street in Swindon. According to Christian Legal Centre, which defended the preacher, non-affiliated peer Baroness Hoy brought up the comment in the House of Lords last week, nearly a month after the CPS was forced to withdraw the charges against Mr Dunn. Hoy asked what assessment the government had made of the written statement by the Crown Prosecution Service. The Conservative Party's Lord Stewart of Durlton, the Advocate General for Scotland, responded that the Wessex area CPS had undertaken a post-case examination and agrees that the statement was wrong. Pope Francis is returning 3 marble pieces that were originally from the Parthenon in Athens. Expressing the Pope's desire to bear witness to the truth, the marble pieces will be sent to Greek Orthodox Archbishop Euronymous II of Athens. According to the Church of Greece's website, the Archbishop holds a degree in archaeology and has worked as an academic assistant at the Athens Archaeological Society. In a statement, the Holy See said the 3 fragments from the Parthenon have for centuries been meticulously preserved in the pontifical collections and the Vatican museums and presented to millions of visitors from all over the world. On Saturday, the death toll from a landslide at a Malaysian campsite increased to 21, including 5 children. Rescue workers are searching the muddy terrains for survivors as well as for bodies. 12 people were still unaccounted for on Friday morning after a landslide struck a campsite at an organic farm close to the town of Batang Kali, which is located outside Kuala Lumpur. According to officials, when the landslide happened, there were more than 90 people at the campsite close to a mountain casino resort, most of whom were asleep. The farm's operators would face punishment if it was discovered that they had infringed the law because they lacked a license to operate a campsite. The location was visited by Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim late on Friday, who promised to provide financial assistance to the survivors' relatives. Myanmar troops torched more than 300 houses in a Catholic village in the Sagaing region. The attack took place on December the 14th and was the 3rd such attack in the hamlet. All the houses that survived a previous attack were gutted. It is not yet clear if the century-old Assumption Church, a convent, and the rectory were spared in the attack. The hamlet is one of 3 in Sagaing, where most of the inhabitants are Bayingi, Catholics who are descended from the Portuguese sailors and colonists who inhabited the area in the 16th century. The junta's offensives in the Sagaing and Magwe regions have intensified, with artillery fire, airstrikes and the burning of homes in many communities, dispersing thousands of people. According to the most recent assessment by Data for Myanmar, as of November the 30th, at least 38,000 dwellings had been demolished throughout the nation since the February 2021 coup, with the Sagaing area reporting the largest number, with 27,496 destroyed residences. A Polish Catholic couple with 7 children who were murdered by the Nazis for harbouring a Jewish family in their home has been recognised by Pope Francis as martyrs. On December the 17th, the Pope approved a decree ratifying the martyrdom of Joseph and Victoria Ulma, who were killed in 1944, together with all of their children. The family, which also includes the couple's unborn child, will now be beatified as they were killed in hatred of the faith. They were also recognised as righteous among the nations for giving their lives in sacrifice for Jews by the World Holocaust Remembrance Centre. On his 86th birthday, Pope Francis also approved the causes of 15 candidates for sainthood. Among them is servant of God Matteo Ricci, a well-known Jesuit missionary to China in the 17th century. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more, and do remember, you can always visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.